This podcast is part of the Frederick Podcast Network. Learn more at listenfrederick.com.
Welcome to the award-winning Rich in Life podcast. We're the podcast that dives deep into the true meaning of wealth. We're going beyond money. We're going into mindset, purpose, and the choices that shape our success. In each episode, we're going to bring you inspiring stories, expert insights, and the real conversation to help you build a life that's rich in every way. So get ready to elevate your thinking, embrace new possibilities, and unlock the wealth that truly matters. So sit back, tune in, and let's learn how to be rich in life.
Your heart rate picks up before you even fully read the message. You feel it in your chest before your brain has finished processing the words. Your stomach drops walking into a certain room, and your energy changes the moment a specific name enters the conversation. You've been telling yourself, and maybe you're just being dramatic. Maybe it's just anxiety. It's just a little stress, just something you need to manage, breathe through, and push past. But what if it's not something you push past? And what if it's just information from your body? What if your body has been keeping a score that you just haven't been reading? Welcome to Rich in Life. I'm Danielle Rizzo, and today we are talking about the most underused source of intelligence that people had, and why learning to trust it might be the most important thing that you do this year. Something that I have been observing across multiple coaching conversations is that people who have spent time in high-pressure environments, high-stakes careers, demanding relationships, households where keeping the peace required constant self-monitoring, develop a remarkable ability to override their body's signal. It's actually a skill in a way. You learn to function through the discomfort. You learn to perform maybe through your anxiety. And you're showing up and being present even when something inside of you is screaming that something is wrong. And maybe like for a period of time, that skill serves you well. It gets you through, and maybe it makes you even believe that like this false hope of feeling stable. But over time, something happens. The volume on the body's signals gets turned down because you've trained yourself not to hear them. And then one day you're sitting in a coaching session or a therapy office or a quiet moment by yourself, and someone asks you, what do you actually feel? And you genuinely don't know how to answer that because you've been so well trained to override that the signal has become background noise. I've worked with clients who noticed their energy drop the moment a specific person's name entered the conversation. There was just this like withdrawal. And then when I asked, did you notice what just happened in your body? They were surprised. They'd felt it, but hadn't really registered it as information. They just registered it as something that they were managing. So that difference between information and inconvenience is where today's conversation is going to live. There's like pure science behind this, and it's actually really fascinating to me. And I want to share because it changes the way you relate to your own physical responses. The body and the brain are in constant communication. But the direction of that communication is not what most people assume. We just tend to think that the brain is in charge. It assesses the situation, it decides how to feel, and then sends signals to the body of like what to do. But neurologically, it's actually much more bi-directional than that. So there's a book on this subject, and it's called The Body Keeps the Score. And the argument in this book is that the body records experiences, especially high stress or threatening ones. And it's actually done in a way where like the conscious mind often doesn't fully register. And those like recordings are showing up as physical sensations, like maybe a tightness in your chest, a drop in energy, a racing heart, the feeling of dread before you can actually articulate why you're dreading it. The nervous system stores pattern responses, and those responses activate before the thinking brain catches up, which means your body's reaction often arrives before your rational mind has a chance to evaluate the situation. So your body is leading, not your brain. So what does it actually mean to treat your body as a data source rather than something to manage? So I want to give you like maybe some examples of what this looks like, and maybe that some of these are familiar with yourself. So your phone lights up with a message from someone and your stomach immediately tightens. Instead of rationalizing, it's fine, they're probably just following up, you are thinking in your head, what is this sensation telling me? Telling you that something about this relationship. It's telling you that maybe there's a dynamic that needs addressing. that maybe the person's request consistently asks more than the relationship can sustain. Another example could be you walk into a meeting or a room and your energy just disappears. You're just quietly withdrawing. And instead of pushing through and performing engagement, you ask, what changed when I walked into this room? Was someone specific there? What was the dynamic of the room? What is my body registering that my professional training says to owe that? Another example could be that you're considering a decision. There's an opportunity, a relationship, a commitment, and intellectually it checks all the boxes. But there's this low grade resistance that you can't fully explain. Instead of dismissing it as fear of change or maybe imposter syndrome, what specifically does the resistance feel like? Where is it in your body? And has this feeling been right before? Now, I'm not saying let every physical sensation make decisions for you, but I want you to include the body's data in the conversation, especially when you're in a situation where you've historically been rewarded for overriding it. So there's a simple exercise that you can do, and it's called the body check-in, and it takes less than 2 minutes each time you do it. So here's how it works. 3 times a day, morning, midday, and evening, you pause for 90 seconds, and you just ask yourself these 3 questions. Where am I holding tension right now? Is it in my jaw, my shoulders, my chest, my stomach? I want you to name the location specifically. Then ask what happened in the last few hours that might connect to this. Conversation, a message, a decision. And what is this telling me? Not how do I get rid of it, but what is it actually pointing to? You're not trying to solve the problem in 90 seconds, but you're just building the habit of reading the signal before you override it. That makes sense? If you do this for 1 week, at the end of 7 days, look back at your note. You will almost always find a pattern, whether that pattern is a person, whether it's a situation, whether it's a type of interaction that your body's been flagging consistently. This is the information. This is your data. What you do with it is up to you, but you can't respond to data that you don't actually recognize. So it's not we don't want you to be reactive to every situation. It's just to restore the communication channel between your body and your decision-making channel that we've mostly been keeping quiet for a long time. And I want you to know that you're not being sensitive and you're not broken because your body reacts before your brain catches up. You're being percepted. You have a nervous system that has been paying attention even when you were told to look away. And now you get to learn to trust it again. The body has been keeping score the whole time. It remembers the things you told yourself not to make a big deal of. It's tracked the patterns that you rationalized away in some way. But the things are still here, and it's still sending the signal, waiting for you to start reading it as data instead of just noise. This right here is the beginning of the clearest kind of self-trust that there is.
Live radio, local podcasts, the Frederick Podcast Network at listenfrederick.com.